But two, I also think this program is really set up in the long term. So to go back to the recruiting stuff, listen, I think, like I said to lead this segment, when you talk about the rising brands in college basketball right now, there's established brands. Duke's awesome, Kentucky's awesome, Gonzaga's awesome, UCLA's awesome. But when you talk about rising brands in college basketball, I don't know that there's anybody quite like Arkansas. And listen, what I think is interesting about the Layden Blocker commitment is this. I think it really establishes Arkansas even further as a recruiting destination for elite players. A place that you can go as an elite player and in a year or two be NBA ready. And it's interesting, right? Because some would say this is Coach Muss's fourth full recruiting class at Arkansas. In 2020, he had one of the elite classes in the country. Moses Moody was obviously the headliner in that class. Devo Davis, who's still on campus. Jalen Williams. But to me, what I would say about that is this. I talked about it last week with the Louisville football program all of a sudden getting hot in recruiting. In recruiting, there are two reasons why a team has real success in recruiting completely out of the blue if they historically haven't. Why I question Louisville is because they didn't fit either one of those criteria, and those criteria are you're either coming off a really great season, like, say, Michigan State football right now, incredible 11-win season, they're recruiting really well, or you have a first-year coach and a first-year staff that really gets after it and establishes it and is trying to change the culture. So when you go back to that 2020 class, what I think a lot of people would say is new coaching staff, we got to keep our best players home, and they did that with 4 elite players out of the state of Arkansas, but we've seen first-year head coaching staffs sign good classes before. It has happened. 2021, not as much of a high school influence, more of the transfer portal. And then in 2022, you have this historic recruiting class that I have talked so much about. We don't need to break down 2022 because we're on to 2023. But in 2022, you have 3 McDonald's All-Americans who we've talked about plenty. Jordan Walsh, Anthony Black, and of course Nick Smith Jr. You also have 3 other top 100 players. Barry Dunning, Darian Ford, and Joseph Pinion. And so why I'm bringing it all up, because to get to 2023, what strikes me is this. A lot of coaching staffs have had a great recruiting class in their first year as a head coach. A lot of staffs have had success in recruiting coming off of a super successful season. So in 2022, you're obviously recruiting off the first Elite Eight that Arkansas had in 2021. So it's not inconceivable that you would have a great recruiting class there. I know Arkansas is again coming off an Elite Eight, but I bring it up because we are now talking about 3 elite recruiting classes potentially in 4 years with Eric Musselman as a head coach. Obviously, 2023 is early. This is the first kid committed for 2023, but they're very much in the mix for 5-star Ron Holland. They're very much in the mix for the kid Bay Fall, who's a 5-star. And so I just bring it up because if you start talking about 3 elite classes in 4 years, that's not a coincidence. That is a recruiting juggernaut, and that is an airtight recruiting pitch.